I watched 60 movies in 60 days, and you might be wondering, are you alright? No, I'm not. But today I want to talk to you about why I did it, how I did it, and what it was like watching that many movies in that many days. As always, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know down below how many movies you've watched in a row. And quickly remember, you can stay to the end of the video to find out how you can save 15% off our sponsor, movieposters.com. So 2024 rolls around and everyone's making resolutions. They're thinking, I'm going to change my life for the better. I'm going to get that career job. I'm going to do this or that is going to improve my life. Me? I said I'm going to just watch a bunch of movies and see what happens. So the movies I decided to watch were kind of all over the place. There wasn't a particular style or genre that I was following. I kind of just said I want to watch a movie and clicked on whatever I saw. In January, I watched a lot of those movies for this channel, and some of those videos did make it up onto the channel, some of them didn't. But overall, I had a lot of fun watching these movies. In January, I watched the likes of The Last Duel, Silence, which was a hidden gem, honestly, very good from Martin Scorsese. I watched The Martian, which is obviously fantastic. I watched Fargo as well, and that's one of those movies that I had a lot of fun watching because it's based in Minnesota, but a lot of their little quirks and jokes are very Canadian, and that's who I am, a Canadian. Don't unsubscribe, please. One of the movies I want to mention that I watched in January was Tintin, and it's actually a fantastic movie by Spielberg, and the thing that makes it so fascinating and so well done is the fact that the camera movements in a 3D environment is incredible. The stuff that he was able to do in this environment where, you know, you wouldn't really think about doing those types of movements with the camera, especially when you have to render out all those scenes and it takes a lot of manpower to do it, is incredible, and hats off to Spielberg for doing it. I mean, if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be him. Another movie I watched not long after was Moonrise Kingdom, which is not my favorite Wes Anderson movie. It's good. It has a very sweet tale to it. It's very, friendly, and it's just not really the best. The thing about Wes Anderson is that I watched Grand Budapest first. It's his best work, and ever since it's been hard for me to find something that's better than that. Asteroid City was pretty good by him, but there's something about it that just doesn't work for me either. I don't know what it is. Maybe I have to rewatch Wes Anderson movies and see. I know this is just a personal preference about Wes Anderson. I probably shouldn't have watched Grand Budapest first, but I had to, right? I just had to. I also watched Dumb Money during this period, and it was a really fun watch. Dumb Money, if you don't know what it is, it follows that whole story about how GameStop got pumped into being this really valuable stock, and then the likes of Wall Street got wind of it. They didn't like the way that the market was being manipulated, even though the market's always manipulated. FBI, open up! Dumb Money is presented in such a documentary style with like really good acting inside of it. Very much like The Big Short, if you've ever watched that. It has the same feeling and the same vibe to it. I really had a fun time watching this one. I do recommend it. Paul Dano is, or Dano? Paul is very good in this movie, and okay, that sounds weird. That one actor who somehow always ends up on a Twitch stream is a really good actor. So it was a fun watch, and I'm sure you guys have seen it already, but if you haven't, I mean, go check it out. I also watched a movie called Cowboys, which follows a story of a father and his transgender son who are trying to escape the shackles of the mother, who's a bit more traditional. The story is great because it's a bit of a thriller and has a lot of different kind of turns to it that really work well in its favor. Steven Zahn is one of Zahn? Oh, for sakes, not again. Steven is a very good actor and deserves a lot of credit for the work that he's done. He has been fantastic. I remember seeing him for the first time on Friends. He's a great actor and deserves a lot more credit than I think he gets told. Words are not working today. So at this point, the first month has finished, aka 30 days have passed. Now, I don't know how many movies I watched at this point exactly. It might have been even more than 30 in 30 days. It might have been about 32, 33 in 30 days. But regardless, we're now in February, and my tastes seem to have not changed. And I just continue to watch movies because it's fun. A movie I might make a separate video on, but I want to talk about real quick here is Bad Words by Jason Bateman. What a weird movie. He directed it and starred in it. I believe he did not write it. What a very odd movie for, Jason Bateman. I'm not surprised he did it, but it's a strange one. It follows a guy who's entering into a high school, or no, not even, an elementary school spelling bee, and he's just there to wreak havoc, and he's allowed to be there because of some loopholes that he found in the system. So he's a full-grown adult competing against elementary kids, and he finds a friendly and fun, comedic relationship with this kid who's a part of the spelling bee. It's a very interesting story. It has mature tones to it. It's very like R-rated, raunchy comedy. 2013. So take it at that. but I'll make a video on it because it's a very weird experience. One of the other movies I watched during this time was Ford vs. Ferrari. What a fantastic movie. A lot of people say, what do you prefer, Ford vs. Ferrari or Rush? And honestly, they're both fantastic. They're both based on true stories, you know, and they're dramatized obviously, but it's just, both of them are so well interesting and unique, right? And honestly, I might have to give it to Ford vs. Ferrari just slightly because Matt Damon and Christian Bale are so fun to watch in this movie. It's such a well presented story that gives you such a, you know, a feeling of I want to win with them, but it's like I don't know if I want to. But I also like Rush. Rush is such a good movie too. It's a tough choice, but both these movies are fantastic. But Ford vs. Ferrari, the one I watched during this 60-day period, and it's a great movie. I also started again the run of Harry Potter movies. I started with the first one, and then I got to Chamber of Secrets, and it looks like I may have given up after that. I always seem to just start the first one, and then the second one I'm good with it, and then I don't know, the third and the fourth one are a bit of lulls in my mind. The fifth one's great, sixth one's fantastic as well, and then obviously the finales are great, but there's just something about the middle two that I always tend to wait to watch, and then I get through them, and then I'm like, okay, like Goblet of Fire is a good movie, but man, I don't know, like it's just a bit of a hard watch. It's not the same, you know, feeling of the rest of the stories, and I don't know, it's a bit change. Another movie I watched during this time was Lucy with Scarlett Johansson and Morgan Freeman. A lot of people don't really like this movie because it's very much like Limitless, but not as good, but I actually do enjoy this movie. It gets a lot of slack. The story, again, I guess it could be better, and a lot of people don't really enjoy the way that it was presented, but I like the ideas and the theories of it, you know, the sort of the idea that, you know, there's a possibility that we can unlock 100% of our brain and what happens, and it really took it to another level. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it yet, but I would definitely recommend taking a look at it. Maybe that's another video that I could make in the future. It kind of fits our sort of theme on this channel about weird movies that don't make a lot of sense, but I oddly enjoyed it. I don't know, there's just something about it that was really fun to watch. It definitely takes on the sci-fi style more than any other movie I've seen about this topic. I also watched 1995's Get Shorty, which is a really fun John Travolta movie that kind of surprised me a little bit. This was one that was recommended by my father, and I actually enjoyed it. It was actually a lot of fun. I enjoyed the little aspects of it that were really interesting and intriguing. I don't want to give too much away, but it's very much a story within itself, and if I give away too much more, it may give away the whole fun aspect of the story of the movie. So all I'll say is John Travolta is great in it. It's a lot of fun to see him not singing for the first time. I've watched a lot of movies where he sang, so this is a nice change of pace for John Travolta and myself. As we near the 60 days, I pretty much watched whatever I needed to watch for the sake of watching it. I wanted to keep a streak alive. During this period, I actually watched 19 movies in a single week, which was a challenge of its own. I managed to do it, but I don't think I'll ever be able to do something like that ever again. I mean, 19 movies in a week requires you to be what's the word I'm looking for? A no life. No, it's a challenge to do those things, and I was inspired. I don't know why. I didn't sleep. That's my answer. I did not sleep. Anyways, if you're wondering what the 60th movie in 60 days was, it was Dune Part 2. I watched it on February 29th. Great movie, fantastic. I want to talk about what the effects are of watching 60 movies in 60 days. It's not easy, like I was saying, and it takes a lot of patience and time to do it, and you really have to be motivated. There's an aspect of watching all these movies that you kind of have to turn off a part of the brain, and let me explain that. You sort of have to go, I'm not here to sort of always get a kick out of every movie. I'm just trying to watch something and see if I enjoy it. You more or less have to just turn off all your biases. We all love to watch movies that make us feel good, movies that we've seen before, we know the outcomes to, but sometimes you just have to, sort of turn the brain off and just watch a movie for the sake of watching a movie, and then decide for yourself afterwards if it was a good movie, if you enjoyed it. Also, for March, April, and May, I did pretty darn good in terms of watching movies. I continued to keep up the pace pretty darn well, made it past 115 or so movies before June. Pretty good pace for me. I've never done that before. I was pretty proud of myself, especially considering, run a YouTube channel about movies. I've been watching that many movies. That's great. But I found myself in June and July to really slow down and not really watch as many movies, partially because I've been spending more time making videos and also just spending more time doing other things outside of sitting down and trying to watch a 2.5 hour, maybe even 3 hour movie. And in August right now, as of the 19th that this is going up, I have watched no movies in the entire month. It's probably probably the longest time I've gone all year without watching any movies, and longest in quite a while actually in general, since I've watched at least one movie. Now I have started a couple of movies, but just seem to not be able to finish any of them. I don't know what it is, something about movies right now, it's just not getting me going. That's why on the channel you've seen a bit of a pivot in the content. It's not so much talking about movies directly, rather just talking about the movie atmosphere and bringing up different questions about different actors and the roles that they play in society and in Hollywood. So I've done a lot of that recently, but I want to get back to just sort of talking about these movies again, because it's been a while. It's been like maybe a month or two, and I don't know, I gotta watch movies. I gotta sit down. There's just something right now for me going on that I just don't want to watch a full 2-hour movie. I just don't know what it is. Maybe my attention span is gone. Damn TikTok. Jokes aside, this was a fun experiment. It was interesting. I don't know how I managed to do this 60 days, 60 movies. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't train you. I couldn't even tell you to do it, because honestly, I wouldn't really do it. It takes a lot of time out of your day, and after watching that many movies, you start to scramble different movies together, and you're not necessarily watching the entire time sometimes because you're so tired and you're watching all these movies. And so I don't recommend it. Just watch when you want to watch and don't force yourself. If you have the time, you have the time. Anyways, that's it for me today. Here's a word from our sponsor. Hi, thanks for answering the call. I'm not sure if the connection is really good. Let me just try this. Okay, perfect. Movieposters.com is the sponsor of today's video. Make sure you go check them out. They got many posters just like the one here on the wall. This is a reprint, or you can get real posters as well if you're interested. I'm lagging again. Hold on. Make sure you use code Forgotten15 at checkout if you're interested in saving 15% off your entire order. Alright, back to the video.